I was always raised in a church. My family was very religious. We went to church every Sunday. I'm one of 6 kids, so there were a lot of us when we went. And when we'd go, we'd even see our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, our cousins. The older I got, the more I felt that I was just forced to go. It was just part of my routine. My heart really wasn't ever into it. And then even in college, I went to church every Sunday, no matter where I was, what I did. After college, I got married right away. I only worked for a year and then became a stay-at-home mom. I was raising 3 kids, and my husband got a job in the Cleveland area. I was there with him for about 5 years when he told me he wanted to end our marriage. That blow hit me pretty hard. I had to figure out where my life was again. I packed up my kids and moved back here so my kids would have my family to help me raise them. I raised them in the same church I grew up in, but we still didn't talk about God. We didn't talk about faith. And since my divorce, I just felt like there's a hole kind of in my heart. Then I found out my mom had cancer. They gave her 2 years to live, and I just thought, why, God, why would you do this to her? And it shook our family. I met my husband-to-be like 4 years prior, and we decided to get married. He was not the same religion I was, and so my family didn't agree with this marriage. After we got married, they completely cut me out and my kids. I thought God had forsaken me also. So I gave up on God. I just thought maybe everything I've been taught my entire life wasn't true and wasn't real. I was running one morning and I looked up at the stars and I thought how pretty they were. And then I realized this whole time when I was searching for like my purpose in life or how I belonged in life anymore or what the meaning of everything was, I realized that the big thing that was missing in my life was God. So I decided what I called to church hop in Lima, since I was living in Lima now. So I tried several different churches until I finally ended up at Shawnee Alliance. And when I walked in, I kind of was intimidated. I sat on the very edge, so if it was one of those places that was a little too much for me, I could leave without anybody noticing. But during the service, I cried. I was so moved. And it wasn't crying from like being told I was a bad person or feeling bad. It was just relief of being there and feeling like I belonged somewhere. One night, my husband was working late that night, and I woke up at about 11 p.m. in extreme pain. I called him, he came home, and he called the squad to take me in. When I got to the hospital, and they ran a lot of tests, it came back that I was in so much pain because I had COVID, I had a cyst on my ovary that popped, and I had the flu. So, not the best things to have, but also while they were doing some of those wonderful scans, they found that out that I had a tumor on my pancreas. After that, they put me in a room by myself until 10 p.m. because I had COVID. My husband had to go back to work. So I sat in a room by myself, thinking about the 3 kids that I had, and the 2 bonus kids I had, and my husband, and my life, and wondering if I was going to make it. I thought, why, God, why is this happening to me right now? I look back and I thank God that I had all those things at the same time, because if I wouldn't have had all 3 of those things, I probably wouldn't have gone to the hospital. But at that time, I didn't realize God was actually looking after me. He didn't abandon me. He was actually looking after me. I was still going to church every Sunday, and I went to the prayer circle they have. And I went over there, and they prayed for me there, and they said, why don't you come in when we have one of our meetings, and we'll have a bunch of people here, and we'll pray over you. It was a Tuesday. I said, okay, I will come Tuesday. In my head, I tried to come up with so many reasons not to be there. I went and just emptied out every feeling I had. I had all of my anger. And to see so many people that I've known for maybe 3 months, other people the first time I met, to see them care for me and to lay their hands on me and pray for me. And at that moment, when they were saying their prayers over me, I felt relief. I felt clarity. All of a sudden, it's like it clicked that God had me all along. My surgery was going to be November 30th. Right before my surgery, I was calm. I wasn't panicking. I just thought, well, we'll see what happens. I said a prayer. The next thing I knew, I woke up and surgery was over. While I was walking the hall with my little IV pole, I ran into a guy. His name was Timmy. For 5 days straight, we walked with each other and we talked. And then I met another couple and we said prayers together. He and his wife, we all prayed together. By the time I left, after I was there for 5 days, the nurses even said, and the doctor said, that there was just something about me, and they thanked me for being so positive. And that wasn't me, it was God. Like, it was God that gave me that strength to be positive, because it didn't feel good physically, but spiritually, I was in the best shape I have ever been in. I started each day praying and thanking God for giving me a second chance to prove that I'm worthy of His love. And the thing is, I didn't have to prove it. He loved me no matter who I was. It's almost like I made Him prove that He deserved my love, which isn't the way it's supposed to be. Like, I've never felt more whole and more put together than when I became the biggest physical mess I have ever been. My name is Hounshell, and I'm a transformed life.